Welcome to your Thursday edition of FreightWaves Now. We're going to be talking to Seth Holm today about some very exciting economic data. But first, let's go ahead and jump into the weather.
Welcome to FreightWaves Weather Thursday edition. I'm FreightWaves meteorologist Nick Austin. Big, I'll say, yes, historic snowstorm now. Blizzard-like snowstorm moving through the Plain States. We've been talking about this all week. It really started cranking up yesterday as we across Montana and Wyoming, and now it's moving through the Dakotas. So most of the heavy snow here today is going to be through central parts of North and South Dakota, maybe far northern parts of Nebraska. And then later on today and through the nighttime, it's going to start cranking up even more. It's going to gain more strength. The snowfall rates will become heavier, especially across eastern parts of North and South Dakota and across the state lines into Minnesota. So we're talking about areas like Grand Forks, Fargo, into East Grand Forks, Minnesota, northwestern Minnesota, especially a lot of those areas along I-29. Other parts of I-90 and I-94 are going to be affected too. Yes, this could be record-breaking snowfall easily for this time of the year for a lot of these areas. We're talking about anywhere from around 1 foot to maybe 2 feet of snow, which is a lot for this part of the country, even for this time of the year. We don't normally see that much snow, even with an early season system. So this is going to be a big-time storm. It could stall over those areas all the way through Saturday. So we're talking about a 2 to 3 day storm here. And that's why we're expecting all these huge snow amounts and a lot of blowing snow and really low visibility as well. From all that blowing snow, it's going to make it just extremely risky to try and drive through this area. Truckers, carriers just need to stay out of this region for the next few days and possibly for a day or two even after the storm is gone. So that's going to keep heading east and then stall over this area for the next few days, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Now, further south of the storm, away from the blizzard, we're talking about a chance for severe storms from around Dallas metro area all the way up to Fort Smith, Arkansas, into Missouri as well, Springfield, Missouri, Joplin, even southeastern parts of Kansas. So everywhere in this highlighted yellow section here, there could be areas of isolated tornadoes, possibly some really, really strong wind gusts at times, as well as areas of large hail. Now up in New England, we're talking about the possibility of high wind and some coastal flooding. Nantucket, Cape Cod, the Boston area, down towards Bridgeport, Connecticut, even some parts of Long Island today, as well as the threat for a little bit of flooding in inland areas, but it's mainly going to be a coastal problem as far as strong winds and flooding up in those parts of New England. There's a low pressure system sitting right off the coast, and it's just going to keep spinning there today and sending all that rain and wind that way. And then lastly, we're going to talk about, again, this is Super Typhoon Hagibis, which is out in the Western Pacific, moving through the Philippine Sea, and it's heading towards Japan. It could make a direct hit near Tokyo and Tokyo Bay as we head into the day on Saturday, around the afternoon or evening time over in Japan on Saturday. And at that time, it could still have sustained winds of around 100 miles per hour. So a lot of problems for ocean cargo, the airports, all the seaports in that area as well. So we'll keep watching that storm through the rest of the week. That's what you need to know about your weather. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have a great day and be careful out there.
Time for your Thursday carrier update, sponsored by Powerfleet. My name's Kyle Cunningham. Big moves all across the country yet again today on a Thursday. We're going to jump into it and tell you just what's going on and see where your capacity is the most valuable today. Let's go ahead and jump into the chart behind me. We're going to be looking at Salt Lake City, Utah out west. We got our outbound tender rejects here, Blue Mountain, comparing to the outbound tender volume for Salt Lake City. Now, big things happening in regards to outbound rejections, jumping up back to 9.3, close to that 10% balance market that we like to see for carriers. Here's the interesting thing. You've seen the volume in Salt Lake City basically fall off a cliff from the start of October. The capacity was loosening. As of yesterday on the 8th, you've now seen it tighten back up, and any empty trailer in Salt Lake City is going to be more valuable. So keep that in mind if you're heading out west today. Let's go jump over to the East Coast. If you're in Columbia, South Carolina today, you'll be waiting 163 minutes, a little over 2 hours. So make sure you got something to keep yourself entertained at the dock. But if we look at the reefer tender reject index for Columbia, this Blue Mountain here, we can see big moves up from yesterday, almost a doubling, 94.7% up to 21.3% outbound contracted tender rejects. If we look at what's going on in regards to the white line line here, that's your refrigerated outbound volume, brand new indice inside of Sonar. You can see this just trending up a little bit. Here's the good news. The refrigerated inbound capacity, that competition for you, trending down. So keep that in mind. Columbia, South Carolina, that's one to watch. Now let's jump over to Miami, Florida, see what's going on down south. 124 minutes there at the dock. So keep that in mind if you are going to be waiting down in Miami. Looking to get rolling again, mid-hauls. That's going to be your best option down south. Outbound tender volume in Miami, that mid-haul volume, yet another new Sonar index, looking real good. Big jump up 12% from yesterday. This white line here, your mid-haul outbound tender rejects coming in at 16%, very favorable. Let's close out today and take a look at what has happened from this point last week on our head haul map. You can see right up here in Ohio, big turn down in terms of volume. Elizabeth, New Jersey, a lot more volume coming out. Taking a look out west, LA, as always, a good favorite for outbound options. As always, make sure you stay tuned to your carrier update every single day. Now I'm joined by our market expert, Seth Holm, talking about some really important economic data. Seth, what do you have for us today?
Thanks, Kyle. So last week we kind of talked about some encouraging economic data for the freight markets. We talked about how new truck orders are running well below replacement demand. Today I want to talk about two economic data points that are a little more cautious for the freight market. So turning to the chart, my first economic data point is this is the University of Michigan does a survey every single month of household consumers, and this one is about their appetite for buying large ticket household durables. And looking at the chart here, this is a 10-year chart. The blue line is the reading, the yellow line is the 3-month moving average. But as you can see here, this is hitting a 10-year low, a cycle low, and more than a 10-year low, going all the way back to 2008. So the reading here is if consumers are increasingly cautious and pull back on spending on those $1,000 plus items like washing machines and stuff like that, that could be a clear negative for the freight markets moving forward. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about is Duke University does a CFO survey. They do this quarterly. They survey over 400 CFOs of both public and private companies. Now, this is a closely watched one because it's often said to be the leading indicator for leading indicators. And what they mean by that is it tends to be accurate, and when it is accurate, it tends to lead a lot of the other leading indicators by a quarter in advance. So, as far as the main takeaways for this quarter's survey, 53% of U.S. CFOs think that we'll be in a recession in the U.S. within a year. And 67%, or about 2/3, think we're going to be in a recession by the end of 2020. Now, this one's a little more concerning to me than the durables chart because there's an element of a self-fulfilling prophecy with this CFO survey. These guys are in charge of both hiring and capital spending. So if they pull back on spending on those items, obviously they can help create the very thing that they're forecasting. So kind of to wrap it up here, we are encouraged about the freight markets heading into Q4 and then into 2020. However, it's clear that the U.S. economy here is slowing a bit, so we're trying to keep an open mind and keep a watchful eye on everything that's going on.
Fantastic perspective from Seth Holm. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, we'll be back tomorrow.
Coming at you live this November in Chicago, FreightWaves is debuting the next chapter of the world's most advanced freight market dashboard, Sonar 5.0. Sonar 5.0 will bring a fresh new look, more amazing insights, and additional weapons to give users the clearest vision yet into freight movements around them. New customization tools allow for better analysis of individual operations. An alert system will ensure you don't miss those big events that can impact your bottom line. More context, more insights, more power. As an added bonus for attending FreightWaves Live, we're offering Sonar Summits, the perfect opportunity to become a freight market expert. Users will be able to navigate the constantly changing freight markets like never before. Join us at a Sonar Summit at FreightWaves Live this November 12th and 13th in Chicago.